What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new StarCraft 2 video. This one is between two players on the WCS Pro circuit. Spawning here, the top left-hand corner of Kairos Junction LE, playing with the red Terran pieces. We have none other than uThermal. And his opponent, spawning the bottom right-hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Terran pieces, we have Clem. So guys and girls, I'm very excited about this series and this game in particular that was played at the WCS summer event and was one of the series within the round of 24 of that tournament. So two players very good with the Terran pieces, to say the least. I'd say uThermal is a little bit more well known than Clem, but both players are forces to be reckoned with the Terran pieces, to say the least. So I'm very excited about this, guys. Should be a very fun-filled series. And WCS Summer, guys, I've been enjoying the games that I've seen and the games that I have casted from this tournament, and I'm excited for. I mean, I just am really excited about the future of StarCraft 2. And just of the StarCraft Esports League that we're just watching. It's been getting more and more competitive over time, and it's just been a lot of fun to watch, to say the least. So here we go. uThermal and Clem, guys, should be a fun series. We are going to see Clem going for that barracks into that orbital command center, then followed up with a factory. So Clem, pretty standard on his end. On the opposite side of the map, we're going to be seeing barracks into that orbital command and natural command center out of uThermal. So both players doing a little bit of some differences. You'll be seeing at the top left-hand corner of the screen of that production tab, you'll be seeing that both players, a lot of times in the early stages of the game, it's a little bit kind of neck and neck as far as those build orders. Usually pretty similar, but this game definitely is a little bit of a change up between these two. So it does look like SCV is going to be coming across the map for Clem. Try to get a little bit of some scouting information. We're going to be seeing the factory coming in for uThermal as of now. We're going to be seeing, of course, the Reaper's going to be coming in as well for Clem, who's going to try to maybe snipe out this SCV for the time being. Does look like there's going to be an eye for an eye there as far as these Reapers are concerned, getting one of those SCVs. Both players, doing just a little bit of micro back and forth here. Clem just wants to be a little bit of a nuisance at this point, as we are going to be seeing a Hellion is going to be joining the mix now. So very nicely played so far by Clem, who is going to start doing a little bit of some damage going after those SCVs. And we are going to be seeing now the follow-up here for uThermal's. Again, that starport is going to be coming out for both players. We're going to be seeing, of course, the tech lab's going to be coming onto that barracks. Both of these Hellions are going to be out as well. They're going to try to see if they can do any types of damage as of right now, as that Hellion, another Hellion's joining the mix here, and it does look like doing a little bit of some damage here. Nothing too insane as of yet. We see more and more Reapers are going to be joining in on the mix, though, as we see these Hellions are going to try to snipe down one of those Reapers, though. Got to be very careful how you engage this if you are uThermal, because, man, if he's able to get the kill on this base, that could be absolutely huge. Now, we are going to see a Marauder that's going to be coming out as well. Looks like this is going to be held. Man, so close to this thing being, to that base going down. But very nicely played there by uThermal, who does look like he's going to kind of fend off his opponent, at least for the time being. Raven's going to be coming out of the starport for Clem, as well as some Cyclones. We're going to be seeing the Cyclone production coming in. Now we're seeing uThermal, who's got a medevac, and it's going to be flying across the map now. The skins on these units are pretty cool looking. But gotta say, a couple Marauders that were in that medevac, and now it looks like uThermal wants to do a little bit of some damage of his own, as he is over at the natural base location. A little bit of some target fire here is going to be going down. Got to be very careful how you engage this, and it does look like uThermal is, for the time being, going to go back home. So very back and forth, at least in the early stages here of the game as we approach that 5-minute mark. we are going to be seeing the Liberator is going to be coming out of that starport for uThermal. And I gotta say, man, lots of Hellions are out on the playing field for uThermal right now. He's got a lot of Hellions, and now Marine production's being created. As uThermal looks like he wants to get a little bit of some high ground vision, as we are going to see a Reaper is going to be going across the map. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But it looks like both players at this very moment are just kind of trying to test the waters a little bit. There is going to be a siege tank, beautiful positioning there for Clem, as we are going to see this Reaper is going to get some scouting information, see exactly what is going on in that main base location. uThermal sees that there is no third command center as of yet. It is actually being constructed in the main base location, however. And both players, they're giving each other a good amount of respect. I mean, that they definitely do deserve in these early stages. As we do see uThermal going for that third command center of his own. Yeah, look at the skins on these, man. These skins are pretty nasty looking, I gotta say. Pretty cool looking. But here we go. It does look like the engagement might be happening at the ramp over at Clem's base, or near his going towards like that natural command center. Both players are really just trying to test the waters here. The question is who's gonna have the advantage here, as we do see those Ravens are really fending off those Hellions. It does look like we are going to see those Marauders are going to be dropped into the main base location, doing a little bit of some damage, trying to distract Clem from these Hellions. But it does look like at this point we are going to see Clem is going to start. Okay, maybe he's doing a fake push here, as it did look like those SCVs were following the siege tanks for a little while there, and then they kind of backed off all of a sudden. So very interesting decision making by both these players. And then, you know, with StarCraft 2, guys, you know, obviously the real-time strategy game of our time, you really see the different types of strategies that come into play, as we are going to see some of those sentries are going to go down. Beautiful play here so far by Clem, who looks like he's going to be able to pounce right on top of all of those siege tanks. And here we go. That could have been a very huge moment here for Clem, who looks like he's causing an absolute all-in here, as all these SCVs are being pulled off of the line. They're going to get this round on those siege tanks. But, oh, man, so much damage is being dealt here. Who is on top, though? However, as we do see, it looks like Clem is going to start moving in. He's starting to do a good amount of damage with those landed Vikings. Beautiful play here by Clem. I wonder if he's doing quite enough damage, though, is the big question to me. Is he doing enough? I don't know if he is as of yet. As we pass that 8-minute mark, and these players are just absolutely neck and neck, as that third command center is now down for Clem, and he is starting to mine from it. But as I was saying, you know, StarCraft 2, there's just so many mind games that go into these matchups, especially when we're talking about, you know, same race, you know, matchups. So you're talking the TVT matchup. There's just so many mind games that go into this. And, you know, so that it makes it quite exciting watching the different dynamics and different unit compositions that these players come up with to go up against their opponents, who they, you know, obviously these guys know each other. They've played against each other numerous times, whether it's for practice or for real in tournaments. And this is a big tournament. This is one of the WCS stops. You definitely want to win these early games, because, you know, you're talking, I mean, this is a, you know, a best of 5 series. So we're talking best of 5s. All these games do matter in the grand scheme of things. That said, it looks like the follow-up here, guys, is going to be more and more siege tanks out of these players. We're going to see double Viking production out of Clem, whereas we're going to see Liberators as well as Vikings coming out of uThermal starport. So uThermal's beautiful defense, absolutely. I mean, I can't believe he, you know, I was thinking there for a moment that he might be in some trouble, but absolutely beautiful play by uThermal, keeping, you know, staying in this game. Absolutely is what he needed. He needed to stay in this game at all. You know, I mean, you know, if he wants any chance at really winning this series, he's got to make sure that he is, takes full advantage of winning these early games here. And Clem has got to take advantage. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And it does look like both players kind of at a stalemate once again as we pass that 10-minute mark. Seeing both players trying to decide, trying to get into position here as those SCVs are going ahead and repairing those Vikings. Here we go. More and more of these siege tanks are going to be coming in, but man, these siege tanks are getting absolutely blasted right now. Back and forth engagements. Clem is now taking a nice solid lead. GG is called, and Clem takes game number 1 in an engagement where uThermal played amazing defense, but Clem continued on with aggression and was able to overwhelm his opponent. I hope you guys did enjoy this game between Clem and uThermal, and if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in game number 2. Alrighty, everyone. Well, game number 2 in this best of 5 series finds us on New Repugnancy LE. Spawning here at the top right-hand corner of the map, playing with the red Terran pieces. He's currently down, but certainly not out of the series just yet. His name is uThermal. And his opponent, spawning in the cross position, playing with the blue Terran pieces. He's currently up and wants to continue rolling in his favor and keeping this series, I should say, rolling in his favor. His name is none other than Clem. So, guys and girls, game number 1 in this best of 5 series was relatively back and forth. A lot of, it felt like Clem from the very beginning was really just putting on the aggression early on in the series and just wanted to continue, pushing and continue causing the problems for uThermal, and it started very early on in the game, and he just continued onward with the aggression and was able to overwhelm uThermal. And so now the question is how does uThermal end up, responding here? Does he do more of the same of what he did in game number 1, whereas, kind of trying to play a macro-focused game, or is he going to go ahead and maybe, give us a little cheese, go for some timing pushes? I would love to see uThermal get a little bit more aggressive in this game. And Clem, if you're Clem, you got to be doing the same thing once again. I mean, you're trying to win this series. You don't want to give uThermal any chance at all at coming back. So in order to do that, you got to just keep on doing exactly what it is you were doing in game number 1, putting on that consistent aggression. So that said, it looks like let's talk about what both players are doing here in the early stages. You'll be seeing that very similar build orders this game, whereas a little bit differences in game number 1. But we're going to be seeing the barracks into the orbital command, followed by a factory by both players. So we're going to be seeing Reapers coming out of those barracks for both players. Try to get that early game scouting information. And so, like I said, guys, I think the narrative is more so around uThermal right now, because he's going to want to try to tie this game up and, get this series, kind of back in his controller and kind of try to turn the tides of momentum, which I think is something that he's going to need, because Clem, I mean, this is a guy who he's going to give it his all, and he actually has been surprising me how well he has been playing in the latest tournaments I've been watching him in. He's been doing he's been playing against some of the best players out there, and he has been, of course, for years, but he's able to, I've been noticing more and more, is able to really hold his own and actually take some games off of the best players in the world. So it's pretty fun to see the evolution of Clem's game. That said, we are going to see uThermal as well as Clem going for kind of continuing their economy and such, and it looks like they're going to continue that with their tech of choice, as in the starport, seeing cyclones that are going to be coming out now of that factory for Clem. Same can be said for uThermal. So very similar as far as build order compositions that both these players are kind of going for right now. And guys, I gotta say, these these games have been very, have been intense. I mean, I've been, casting these tournaments, and man, some of these games are just absolutely incredible, to say the least, as we are going to see some of those Hellions as well as these Cyclones are going to kind of meet up near Clem's side of the map, which I do like, though. uThermal's kind of showing signs of, he wants to do he wants to put on a little bit of some pressure this game, which is what I really like. I like that he's the one kind of starting it out. He wants to kind of get a feel for what Clem is going to be doing in this game. Looks like a bunch of Marines are going to start moving out. Look at that formation. Beautiful formation by these Marines. Look at that. But to say the least, we are going to be seeing these Hellions are going to be, as well as the Cyclones, are going to be moving across the map here, as we are going to see the Reapers going to try to cause some problems in the main base location, as we are going to now see those Cyclones are going to be moving in towards the natural base command center. Got to be very careful. That siege tank is now in the high ground. Do not want to get in that range, because that can be absolutely devastating. Raven is with those Cyclones. Got to be very careful. You do not want that Raven to get into range, and that Raven can, they can cause some significant issues for other Terran players. A couple Ravens are now created for uThermal on his side of the map. We're going to be seeing Stimpak's going to be researched out of the tech lab now for Clem. We're going to be seeing some Vikings coming in now for uThermal as well. So both players giving each other a good amount of respect right now, which I do like a lot. It looks like we're going to get a nice macro-focused game as we're approaching that 6-minute mark in this one. So I like that we're going to be getting another macro-focused game. I mean, because these are the games that really show us how good are these players, not only at their macro, but also their micro. And that really determines who deserves to move on to the next round. And man, that Marine just got completely annihilated in two. Guys, we've been talking, I've been talking about StarCraft 3, and man, can you imagine the graphics in a StarCraft 3? I mean, we think StarCraft 2, the graphics are just absolutely incredible for a real-time strategy game. Imagine what it would look like in StarCraft 3. We need to be echoing StarCraft 3 into existence, to say the least, but that being said, that's a conversation for another day. Here we go, another Marine is trying to run to his death. And that's exactly what happens as he gets absolutely annihilated once again. These Cyclones are trying to cause some problems for these Marines. Absolutely do not stand a chance. But there are 3 siege tanks now. You got to be very, very careful. Back and forth engagements once again. And it does look like uThermal now is going to go ahead and get that 3rd command center down. Same can be said for Clem. He already has his orbital command. Looks like he is long distance mining, but we are going to see a nice sized army as Stimpak is going to be finishing up in less than 10 seconds now for Clem. He's going to be moving across the map, and I like this decision a lot. Looks like he is going to try to take the fight to his opponent once again, and I believe that this is a very good decision by Clem, to say the least, because he just needs to be the one, I feel, to not allow uThermal any breathing room, not allow him to have the time of day to do a lot of damage. And here we go. The Vikings are just going back and forth. Those siege tanks are in a beautiful position as well. But man, those siege tanks are really doing some damage. As it does look like now, Clem and uThermal are kind of somewhat at a stalemate here near that natural command center. Looks like Clem is going to try to get into position here, as now those siege tanks are in range of the refinery. Beautiful positioning here by Clem. And Clem, I love the way that he's playing right now. Absolutely creating problems for his opponent. He's doing exactly what he needs to kind of keep uThermal uncomfortable. And it does look like those +1/+1 upgrades are going to be coming in now for Clem. The same can be said for uThermal, but however, he is getting those +1/+1 upgrades out of the armory. Vehicle weapons level 1 and vehicle plating level 1 are going to be finishing up in less than 10 seconds now for uThermal. And it does look like at this point, Clem is going to decide to head back home. Infantry weapons level 1 and infantry armor level 1 are just finishing up now for Clem. So both players are, getting those upgrades. They're trying to, stay ahead of one another as far as the upgrade game is concerned. Combat shields finishing up as well. So both players, though, are, it's pretty neck and neck once again. I feel that Clem had a little bit of a better engagement earlier, so he does have a slight lead as far as the supply count is concerned. However, uThermal is still certainly in this thing. I mean, there is no doubt about it. This guy is not out of it. I've seen, many times uThermal has come back from a deficit and won. And so we do see Clem, who's going for that 4th command center at this point in time. uThermal already has his mate as well. But yeah, like I said, both players really giving each other that a lot of respect. But I do feel that Clem, once again, he wants to move out. You can just tell that he's getting kind of fidgety. He does not like giving his opponent too much time. And I love that. I love that about what Clem is doing right now. He doesn't seem like he wants to stay complacent and allow his opponent to dictate the pace of the game. But man, there are a lot of siege tanks out for uThermal. uThermal has got to win this game, I believe, in order to win this series, because it's going to be very difficult to come from a 2-0 deficit to win it to win. So you got to win this one, and I think uThermal knows that, and so he's going to kind of just take his time. He feels that he can out macro his opponent, as we do see Clem moving out once again. Concussive Shells is finished up now, and both players are just so good at at those scans, knowing exactly what is going on, as we are going to see both players are now going to. It's all going to come down to the positioning, really. When you look at this, it's all going to come down to who's got that high ground vision and who is going to be the one causing the most problems, as we are going to see a couple of those medevacs are going to fly away. And I love this. This could be absolutely huge, because exactly what Clem is trying to do is he's trying to split up his army right now. And he wants to create some extremely... he wants to create the problems in that main base location, most likely. Maybe not. Maybe he wants to go to that 3rd base location. I don't know. It's hard to say. But I thought that he was going to try to fly into that main base location. Does look like he does pick right back up, and now he's going to start moving out. But uThermal is not really in a very good position here, because we are going to see now they're going to drop down right on top of all of these units. Beautiful play there by Clem. He's going to try to get this around once again on one of those siege tanks. Does look like he is going to be able to clean that one up, but these siege tanks got that high ground vision. Oh man, here we go. Clem is once again just starting to take getting little tiny victories here. That is absolutely helping him so much, but it does look like maybe uThermal's going to go for the counterattack here, as we are going to see that planetary fortress is absolutely getting destroyed right now. And it's only a matter of time until that thing is going to probably fall, as as once again, both players are going back and forth with these Vikings. There is going to be a counterattack here over at that 5th base location of Clem, but I just feel that uThermal is in a lot of trouble right now, as we are going to see a lot of units are just going down here. Doesn't look like just target firing down that planetary fortress, but those SCVs are holding on for dear life right now, as we are going to see both of them just kind of going back and forth. As ship weapons level 1 is going to be finished up in less than 10 seconds now for Clem, and it looks like another bulk of the army is going to start trying to probably move around here, trying to do as much damage as possible. Once again, though, it does look like Clem has broken free, and we are now going to see a good chunk of this army is now going to start moving in. That planetary fortress is there, though. You got to be very, very careful with that. As that base does go down, that planetary fortress does go down, I should say. And it does look like both of these players are just trading jabs at one another. Planetary fortress is down, and oh man, these SCVs are getting absolutely executed at the hand of those siege tanks. Infantry weapons level 3 is going to be finished up in less than 5 seconds now for Clem. And as we are approaching that 14.5-minute mark, these SCVs are just trying to like sneak away from these Vikings, these landed Vikings here. But both players just are, just doing, good amounts of damage. I gotta say that uThermal, I feel, is definitely not in. He's certainly not in the lead right now. Clem was able to take out that planetary fortress, was able to just create some substantial problems for his opponent. Man, absolutely crazy, man. Back and forth we go as uThermal is doing everything he possibly can to stay in this game. He does not want to allow Clem to go up 2-0. That would be absolutely terrible for him, as vehicle plating level 2 is going to be finishing up in less than 5 seconds now for Clem. And we are going to see another death ball of units that includes Marauders. I think there's a couple Marines in there. You got some siege tanks as well as Vikings. So a very tanky kind of unit composition. And here we go, as we do see this army is going to come in here and is going to try to take out these both of these orbital commands as quick as possible. Looks like one is certainly going to go down. The other could very well go down here very soon as well. That's exactly what happens. And oh man, Clem is just slowly but surely shredding his opponent and bleeding him dry as of right now. Just absolutely doing a ton of damage with this death ball of units. Now uThermal is still not out of this game just yet, but man, it is going to be a difficult thing to have to deal with here, as Clem is just slowly but surely bleeding his opponent dry. Lots of just a lot of lost mining time here, as you're seeing such a long route to get those minerals in. But here we go once again. It does look like uThermal wants to take one last jab at it to try to get a win here, or at least win this engagement. But oh man, uThermal, his supply is absolutely plummeting. GG is called, and Clem takes a commanding 2-0 lead over his opponent. I hope you guys did enjoy this game between Clem and uThermal, and if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in game number 3. Alrighty, everyone. Well, game number 3 in this best of 5 series finds us on King's Cove LE. Spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, playing with the red Terran pieces. He's currently down, but certainly not out of the series just yet. His name is uThermal. And his opponent spawning top left-hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Terran pieces. He's currently on match point and wants to close out this series right here and right now. His name is Clem. So guys and girls, this has been a macro-focused series where both players have just been kind of trading jabs, but it's felt like, for the most part, I would say about 85 to 90% of the time, Clem has had full control of this series, surprisingly, because I thought that uThermal, this would be the favorite in this series, but Clem has been absolutely going toe-to-toe with him. Very surprised at Clem's play here, as he is just playing absolutely out of his mind, just being the one who's been creating the problems for uThermal, but he's also just consistently putting pressure on uThermal and being the one that's creating the issues in the early stages and then into the late game of these first couple of games at this best-of-5 series that was played at the WCS summer event, and was one of the games in series within the round of 24 of that tournament. So very important game here for uThermal to get back in this thing. Clem certainly wants to close it out, move on to the next round, and do what he needs to try to do that. But I gotta say, uThermal, what do you do? Because the narrative is certainly around uThermal right now. What do you do in this current situation to get back into this game is the big question that I have. It looks like he's going pretty, for a standard build once again. Once again, he's going to go for that barracks into the orbital command followed by the factory. The same can be said for Clem. So both players very similar build orders as far as from that production tab, doing very similar like things as we are going to see now. The starport is going to be coming in now for uThermal. And I just would love, out of uThermal, what I would do if I were him, I would certainly go ahead and just try to put as much pressure on Clem as possible. I would not allow Clem to get, really give him much opportunity to be the one causing the engagements. I would be the one trying to cause issues on the opposite side, because really what uThermal's done up to this point, it just hasn't worked. And, he's had his opportunities, but it's just felt like Clem has just dominated so far this series. But we'll have to see what ends up happening here in this game, as we are going to see a couple of those Reapers as well as a Hellion make their way across the map, trying to do a little bit of some damage there. Nothing too crazy as of yet, though. But it's like I said, guys, I mean, this has been a really fun engagement to talk about, because both these players, they're very much so on similar skill sets when you think about it. But I got to say, Clem has just gotten the better of uThermal so far in this series, just outplaying him throughout all three phases of the game. And now we're going to see a Liberator coming in. I do like this decision, actually, by uThermal. Looks like he's going to try to move out here and maybe do a little bit of some damage. He knows that what he's been doing so far in this series has just not worked that well. So how can he change it up? Well, it looks like he's going to try to do a little bit of some damage and hit at a couple of angles at once. And I love this decision to try to just do a little bit of some damage here in the early stages of the game to try to take an early lead and kind of build off of that. Here we go. It does look like we are going to see now a little bit some micro is going to have to come in here, as we are going to see that Liberator is now got that Liberation Zone right on top of the main base location. Beautiful play here by uThermal. This is the kind of play that I love to see out of him. Got to be the one who is creating the problems. Lost mining time as well. uThermal right now has a great opportunity at getting, taking a nice little lead here in these, as we approach that 5-minute mark. So I love that play there by uThermal. Now he's just got to go back home and just do more of the same. Go ahead and keep on pushing at Clem, because that's the one way you cannot allow Clem to get comfortable. And what happens, guys, is when you're putting pressure on your opponent, it forces your opponent to stay at home. And if your opponent decides to start moving out and you're already at their natural command center or their main base location, a lot of times will force them to turn their army around and go back home. It keeps them occupied at home instead of occupied focusing on your bases. So I got to say that uThermal played that one very well, and Clem has done that so far in the first couple of games, just creating significant problems for his opponent. That said, it looks like Clem now wants to put on a little bit of some pressure of his own, as we now are approaching that 6-minute mark. We're seeing Ravens are going to be coming in more. Another command center is going to be going down now for uThermal, but the fight is happening now. Oh, nice play there. Getting a couple of those Hellions for his troubles was Clem, so nice play. But these unit compositions have not changed up that much, throughout this series. It's been kind of the same. It's been, Hellions, siege tanks, Marauders, some Marines. You got Vikings as well as Reapers, and both players are really doing that. That range on these Cyclones is absolutely insane. Hellion wants to see whenever that third command center may be going down, as the third command center is being created right now for Clem. Third command center is being constructed right now for uThermal as well. And at this stage in the game, seems like it's pretty even. Does look like Clem is going to head back home. We are going to see that he is researching out of the Tech Lab Stim Pack. And we're going to be seeing double Viking production coming in as well. So very similar unit compositions, but it's worked so far for Clem. So why change it up when it's been working so well? I just feel that uThermal needs to change some things up if he wants to have some success in this series. He has got to kind of change it up just a little bit in order to try to just obtain victory and get back into the series as soon as possible. So it does look like now that Clem sees that third command center is going down, he wants to be the one who puts on pressure on that base, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Looks like he's going to start trying to put a little bit some pressure on there. This is pretty heavily fortified, however, so you got to be really careful how you engage this this third command center, but maybe you want to hit from another angle, which may be what Clem is thinking. He may want to try to hit at this natural command center, as we are going to now see those Ravens are coming in, and the Ravens are going to start creating some problems with those auto turrets, and those auto turrets are going to do a little bit some damage, nothing too crazy as of yet, as the supply is near even. We actually also see uThermal taking a little bit of a lead at this point, but this has got to be a game that uThermal has got to own from start to finish if he wants to get on the scoreboard against his opponent. Clem has got to just keep doing what he's doing to really obtain victory here. And it does look like we are going to see those SCVs are going to be pulled off the line here. They're going to try to do as much damage as possible, but man, those siege tanks doing a ton of damage, just getting kill after kill right now. The high ground, however, for the siege tanks of uThermal. But a lot of those SCVs were pulled off the line, and man, that was a lot of damage that was dealt right there, as we are now going to see more and more siege tanks are being added to the mix here at that high ground location. But I gotta say, Clem is just playing this absolutely brilliantly. I absolutely love the way he's playing this. He's playing it really smart, but he's also doing damage when he needs to. And we are going to see the follow-up now with multiple more barracks out of Clem. And we're going to see the follow-up now out of uThermal, as we're starting to see the techs of choice. We're going to be seeing another factory coming in. We're also going to be seeing a command center being followed up as well. So it looks like uThermal is trying to take over his side of the map. Clem is getting his own command center constructed as well, as vehicle weapons level 1 and vehicle plating level 1 are going to be finishing up in a couple of seconds now for uThermal. And that's the other thing, is that those upgrades, you gotta try to stay on par with what your opponent is doing at least, or try to stay ahead of your opponent when it comes to the upgrades, as we're going to be seeing infantry weapons level 1 and infantry armor level 1 going to be finishing up in less than 10 seconds now for Clem. And I don't know. There's something about it that I really like the position that Clem is in once again. I just feel that he is in a position of power right now. Without a doubt. It's just felt like that. And we're going to have to kind of wait and see, can uThermal get back in this thing? I would love to see him get, kind of get on the scoreboard and see what happens, as, trying to turn the tide of momentum, which is definitely what you need to do. In StarCraft 2, it's all about momentum. When you talk about these best of 3s, best of 5s, and best of 7 series, we're talking, momentum is everything. And it does look like, Clem right now has the momentum, but once the momentum shifts, sometimes you can, really start building upon something and kind of really turn the tides in your favor. However, we're not at that point as of yet, as we're going to see concussive shells that's going to be finishing up in less than 10 seconds as we pass that 11-minute mark. And here comes more of that army from Clem. He's going to start to move in here. and he's just kind of slowly pushing, trying to keep tabs on everything that uThermal is doing. And this unit composition has just not changed much throughout the course of the series. I mean, we're seeing a lot of Vikings, we're seeing those Ravens, we're seeing, you know, siege tanks, Marines, Marauders. I love it. It is a very tanky type of unit composition that is very, very powerful, to say the least. And it looks like Clem has found a position that's going to work for him, at least for the time being, as we are going to see those Vikings engagements are going to get started here. Both players are trying to find those correct positioning, as there is a barracks that's just floating in the air. But here we go. Both players just trading blows when it comes to those Vikings. Who is going to get on top here? They're just allowing it to kind of go back and forth at this point, as we are going to see now the liberation zones are going to come in. And man, this could cause some problems, as we are going to see now those back and forth engagements. And Clem has taken a lead, without a doubt. He's taken a little bit of a lead. But you got to be very, very careful, as we're going to see those siege tanks are going to continue moving inwards. They're fully in range now of that supply depot. And it does look like the supply depot does go down. And once again, going after that refinery is Clem, as we are seeing just these unit after units going down on uThermal. Now, it looks like uThermal is going to maybe try to get us around here, but it's just such a hard spot to like really get it through to. It does look like we have a Thor has joined the fight as well for uThermal. But man, vehicle plating level 10, level 1 is going to be finishing up in less than 5 seconds now for Clem. And this is just a hard situation for uThermal, because he's in a, it's kind of tough. It's like, what do? You got to stay at home now and play defense. Now, a lot of times if you play good defense, it'll translate to good offense. But man, Clem is playing absolutely incredible at this point in the series. He is kind of doing what he needs to win these games, and it may not be the prettiest thing, but his micro has been really good, and his macro has been really good as well, as his upgrades are kind of catching up now. Infantry weapons level 2 finishes up, and so now he's on those +2/+2 upgrades. He's continuing to build this army down in this position, and it's just a matter of time until one of these two decides to clash, as we are going to see some of those Hellions are going to be over near that third or that fourth base, as we are going to see now these the back and forths are going to be coming in once again. But man, so many siege tanks are out on the playing field right now between these two players. One bad move could spell absolute disaster for either one of these players. Smart Servos is going to be finishing up in a couple of seconds now for uThermal. And it does look like there was a run by here with those Hellions. They do get in there to maybe do a little bit of some damage, to say the least, and that's exactly what they want at this point. They want to do as much damage as possible. But Clem is staying patient. He's staying extremely patient right now, waiting it out. Wants to wait till his moment is clear to move in, as we pass that 15-minute mark. He's just getting fully upgraded. Advanced ballistics is going to be finishing up in less than 10 seconds. And both players are in, similar situations. I mean, both almost had 200 supply. I like where uThermal is as far as his mineral count is concerned. He could reinforce this army relatively quickly with how many minerals he's flooding. But here we go. The massive engagement that we've been waiting for. It was a matter of time until they all clashed. Who's going to be out on top, as we see Clem and uThermal just clashing at this point? It looks like uThermal, his supply is starting to plummet a little bit quicker than his opponent, as uThermal is on the brink of elimination right now, as we now are going to see possibly a push here by Clem. Clem knows now that he is in the position of power and is going to start creating some substantial problems, as now he is in range of those SCVs as well. You got to be very, very careful, however. Clem is playing absolutely lights out this entire series and is very close to closing this thing out. If he could close this thing out right here and right now, he's moving on to the next round at the WCS Summer Event. And oh man, it's not over yet, but uThermal supply did certainly plummet there, and now his mineral count certainly plummeted as well. Clem is in a great position, but here we go. Once again, the armies are about to clash, and we see those Thors are right in range of those liberation zones. The Liberators are doing so much damage as the eye in the sky. uThermal, his supply is absolutely plummeting. GG is called, and Clem sweeps this series and moves on to the next round at the WCS Summer Event. I hope you guys did enjoy this game and this series between Clem and uThermal. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.